Andre camera off. Good evening, line. We are waiting for others to get in the room and sign in person. And we will get started in a few minutes. We are waiting for folks to join us online and in person, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Thank you. Good evening, everybody who's joined us online and in person. There's a few folks still signing in online, and we're waiting for some others to join us in person. So we'll get started in a couple minutes with our official presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of the Florida Department of Transportation, we would like to welcome you to the public meeting for the State Road 838 Sunrise Boulevard from I-95 to State Road 5, also known as US 1. Project number is 447678-1-52-01. This project is for roadway resurfacing, restoration, and rehabilitation. My name is Hong Benitez, the FDOT project manager. Next slide. At this time, I would like to introduce the project team. Today here with me are Michael Priory, to my left. He is the consultant project manager of JMT. And to my right is Johan Aranda. He is the senior engineer also with JMT. To the far end, my left, is Monica Diaz, our community outreach specialist with Infinite Source Communications. Before we move further, I would like to ask if there are any elected officials joining us this evening. If you are here in person, we would like to ask you to stand up so that we may acknowledge you. If you join us virtually, we would like to ask you that you use the raise hand feature so that we may acknowledge you also electronically. We will be given an opportunity later. You will be given an opportunity later in the presentation to address the attendees. Monica, do we have any elected officials joining us this evening?
Hong, at this time, we do not have any elected officials online or in person joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we move on. Next slide, please. And next, I will briefly go over this meeting's agenda. What we are going to present to you will be the general information of this project. We always adhere the non-discrimination policy and rule of engagement. We're going to discuss the location for the project and the overview of the project. We're going to show the proposed improvement. We're also going to show you our temporary traffic control plan. We're going to also present to you the project schedule and cost. Following that, we're going to have a session for questions and answers and closing and the contact information for your use in the future. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Monica Diaz, and she's our public outreach specialist, to go over the technical information and rule of engagement of this meeting.
Thank you, Hong. Good evening, everyone. I'll be the moderator for this evening. Before we start the official presentation, I would like to share a few items regarding tonight's format. This meeting is being recorded. We are using the GoToWebinar platform for tonight's meeting at no cost to the public to participate. The GoToWebinar control panel should be visible on the upper right corner of your computer screen for those of you who are attending online. If you dialed in today by phone and arranged for a paper copy of the presentation, the presenter will announce the page number of the slide being shown. The presentation is available on the project website. If you experience technical difficulties this evening, you can type your question in the question box for those of you online, and you can send an email to monica@iscprgroup.com, or you can call 305-984-2715. A staff member will do their best to assist you. Tonight, you may submit written comments and questions using the question box on the GoToWebinar control panel. You can also mail or email your comments and the questions to the project manager directly, Hong Benitez. Our project manager's contact information will be spelled out towards the end of the presentation for the benefit of our listen-only attendees. The contact information is also available on the public meeting notification that you received in the mail. You can also make verbal or spoken comments tonight. Online participants that requested to speak when registering will be called upon during the question and answer period of the public meeting. If you did not request to speak earlier or wish to speak, you can raise the hand button and on the GoToWebinar control panel during the public comment period. When your name is called, you will need to unmute yourself on the GoToWebinar control panel before speaking. Lastly, you can call the project manager at 954-777-4319 to provide verbal comments during normal business hours after the public meeting. All public comments and questions are part of the public record. If you plan to submit a comment or question after today's public meeting, we ask that you do so by April 12, 2024. The public meeting video link will also be posted on the project website, and a link to the video will be provided via email to all persons that registered to the meeting. Public notice for this meeting is including information about how to access the meeting was provided in letters to property owners and tenants in the project area. It also was posted on the Florida Administrative Register, on the project website, through social media feeds, and through other notification methods. Draft project documents are available for viewing at the Florida Department of Transportation, 3400 West Commercial Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33309. The draft project documents are also available on the project website, https://bit.ly sunrise 3R. And it's also shown on the screen. The Florida Department of Transportation complies with various non-discrimination laws and regulations, including the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Tonight's meeting is being held without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Transportation Title VI coordinators listed on this screen. Next slide. I'm going to quickly go over more rules of engagement for this evening. As I mentioned, this is being recorded, and if you experience technical difficulties at any moment, for those of you online, you can contact 305-984-2715, and a member of our support team may assist you. It's also recommended you send a text as well to that number, 305-984-2715, to be assisted technically. All virtual attendees will remain muted in tonight's meeting. Virtual attendees are also welcome to submit questions or comments using the GoToWebinar control panel, as we mentioned earlier, and select the raise hand feature on your control panel if you would like to speak over the microphone. For those of you attending here in person, we do welcome you to submit a question and comment, and you can form a line after the presentation for the open discussion behind the microphone. If you are participating via phone and have questions, feel free to submit them to the FDOT Project Manager, Hong Benitez, via email after the meeting, and a response will be provided to you in writing. At this time, I will now hand it over to Michael Ferrari to present the project information to us this evening.
Thank you, Monica, the consultant project manager. Our project is the project location the project begins just east of the I-95 interchange and ends at US 1, which is just the east tracks. The main purpose of our project is to extend the enhance multimodal safety, including pedestrians, bicyclists, transit users, and motor vehicles. Our improvements include repaving all of the travel lanes, replacing ADA pedestrian ramps and sidewalks that do not meet current ADA standards, upgrading pedestrian signals at 6 or 7 signalized intersections. We'll have a list later, and some minor drainage improvements. We'll also be replacing signing and pavement markings, providing a designated bike lane in each direction, and lowering the posted speed limit from 40 to 35. And the project length is about 2 miles overall. This is slide 22 is the typical section of our improvements. At the top is what is existing. As you'll see, the 2 inside lanes existing are 11. We'll be going down to 10, and we'll be using the extra 2 feet to put those in to create a designated bike lane. The proposed is the lower section. This is slide kind of shows some existing conditions, such as number 1, current ADA ramp that's doesn't meet standards. 2 with the sidewalk and tripping hazards, and 3 with the drainage inlet right in the pedestrian path of a crosswalk. And when the project is done, it'd be something similar to number 4, which shows the drainage structure moved and the new ramps and striping and everything. These are the pedestrian signal upgrades. These are the intersections that those will be performed at, Northwest 16th, 15th, 13th, 7th, Andrews, Northeast 4th, Northeast 5th, and Flagler. There are a couple other signalized intersections in the project that they already meet. So our temporary traffic control plan. All work will occur in phases to make sure that we reduce impacts of the construction to the community. Temporary lane closures will occur during non-peak hours, meaning closures will not occur until after 9 p.m. or later, and end at 7 a.m. There will be no complete road closures. Pedestrian access will be maintained throughout the duration of the project. There may be some short-term detours from one side of the street to the other, but nothing extensive. Access to businesses, residents, bus stops will be maintained at all times. And the roadway repaving will be done at night. Project schedule and cost. We anticipate construction to start in the coming winter of 2024, and just over a year end in the spring of 26. The estimated cost of the project is $4.4 million. And I think back to you, Anna.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Michael, for that very informative presentation. We want you to know that community feedback is at the core of all we do. FDOT works with the public to balance their community vision with the community's transportation needs. This is routine on all of our projects to ensure Florida's infrastructure is safe, resilient, and efficient for many years into the future. At this time, we would like to welcome elected officials who have joined us later on at this meeting who did not get an opportunity to acknowledge at the beginning. Any elected officials with comments or questions, we would like to hear from you at this time. If you're joining us online, we ask that you utilize the raise hand feature so that we may unmute you and allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself and ask a question or provide a comment. If you are here in attendance, we ask that you approach the microphone. At this time, I will check to see if there's any raised hands, and at this time there are not online, and there are no elected officials in person. Now we will begin the open comment period and question and answers. For those attendees here with us this evening, all in-person attendees, please feel free to submit your question or comment by approaching the microphone. And also you could fill out a comment card here. We do have a representative here with us this evening who is approaching the microphone. We remind you that you please state your name, your first and last name, and your address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Gwen James, Jnes -Haynes, HAYNES. I am the acting Doers Association homeowners president. My address 956 Northwest 16th Terrace. And I'm here tonight with concern of the project. The project is a great project to have for bicyclists because we do have a lot of people traveling and walking. Our concern in the neighborhood, since we live there, I-95 eastbound exiting traffic. They come off of that ramp to merge in. And those of us living on the 3 streets that have to turn right, we're in the outside lane to make that turn. We've had several accidents there, even hit and run with people exiting 95 and they hit and they keep going. So my concern is how will you control that traffic exiting east off of I-95 onto Sunrise Boulevard? Because we can just anticipate many people, especially on bicycles, if they're coming down off of that overpass, Sunrise overpass, and they're riding bicycles, they're going to be killed. And because those people exiting on eastbound Sunrise, they don't stop and they speed up. And I contacted FDOT some time ago about putting a traffic light like you have on Oakland Park exit eastbound. So I just can't see this without having some injury unless you have some way to control that traffic exiting.
I'm okay. I'm going to take the first shot. If I do not have everything, and then I have these two can help me. There is an ongoing project right now that is also under design, and but their project is just to do the modification of the I-95 interchange. Exact design, how they're going to do everything, I do not know. I can find that information for you. If you could, I mean, I'm sure you have already signed up, sign in. Will have your name and how to contact you, and then what we can do is I can get some information about that eastbound off-ramp traffic. And then I can, if there is something has been done in that project, because I think that is just outside of our project.
Okay.
They're just our project kind of but with the other project. And then we start from there and go east. And then the interchange itself is a separate project. But these two projects, they're going to go into construction together. So I will try to get some feedback for that.
Okay, that is a serious concern.
It
I don't
is.
see
It is.
how you can have bicyclists when we get the light at 95 to come across and drop down across that overpass. People are traveling, and I can see a bicyclist. They've got the right of way with the traffic light to go,
Yeah.
and they're not, especially if they're not used to the area, and they don't know how those cars exit off of I-95 eastbound.
Right.
So that's a
I-
serious concern of ours.
It's a safety issue, I am sure,
Mhm.
the project will address, but I just do not have the exact information, but I will find out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Virtual or online attendees are also welcome to ask a question or provide a comment by utilizing the question panel. You can type in your question or comment. We'll read that out loud. Or please select the raise hand feature on the GoToWebinar control panel, and we will unmute you. Anybody online would like to make a comment or question? We have no written comments, but there's still an opportunity for you to select the raise hand feature and be unmuted. Just as a reminder, all comments and questions submitted are part of the public record for this meeting and will be considered by the department during the project decision making. If your question is not responded to during this event, a response will be provided to you in writing following the meeting. We do not have any additional hands raised. However, we will remain on for a few more minutes to ensure that we answer any questions or comments that come in to us this evening. If your question again was not responded to during the question and answer, there is an opportunity to continue to submit questions and we can respond at a later date. And then all comments and questions submitted through these options are part of the public record for this meeting tonight, as I mentioned. We will keep the comment period open through April 12th, 2024 to accommodate the public who view the meeting video after this live event. Everyone, including those who have dialed in, can submit your comments or questions after the meeting, as I mentioned, using mail, email, phone, as shown on the slide. And I did mention that we would read this off for individuals who are listening in only. Our FDOT project manager is Hong Benitez. You can contact her at hong.benitez@dot.state.fl.us, 3400 West Commercial Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33309 is her mailing address. Direct phone number is 954-777-4319 or toll free at 866-336-8435, extension 4319. We have a few people online. Again, you can select the raise hand feature and we could unmute you, or you can feel free to type in any question or comment you have on the comment box. And we can go to the next slide. So with our safety campaign, we want to remind you that distracted driving puts lives at risk, those around you and those who you care the most about. And distracted driving can cause serious injury, even death at times, especially when we're in work zone. We encourage you to practice work zone safety. When you see an active construction area, we hope that everyone will make a smart choice to avoid distractions behind the wheel. With that, we thank everyone for attending. Again, we will remain online for a few more minutes to allow individuals who join us a little bit later and those who are still joining us to ask questions. And we will sit back for a few more minutes to address any comments. As I mentioned, when you log off today's meeting, for those of you who are joining online, you will receive a short survey that will appear on your screen and one will be emailed to you. We hope that you complete that to provide us some feedback about this meeting. You will also receive an email within 24 to 48 hours with the link, and your question will be responded to for those of you who have questions for us this evening. And on behalf of the Department of Transportation and our presenters, we thank you for joining us and we hope that you stay safe and be well. And like I mentioned, we'll be on for a few more minutes to make sure that we capture everyone's questions. Thank you. Gonna end online for the folks who are still here with us. We have no additional questions. We are still having discussions here in the room, but for those of you online, we thank you again for joining us, and we wish you a safe holiday if you're celebrating. Thank you.